All right. Welcome to Nostalgicast, your weekly roundup of the best and most up-to-date nostalgic news where we discuss the stories and give our thoughts. I am your host, who is excited about how much Sonic the Hedgehog has grossed.
I like that.
Andrew Price.
I like that.
Yeah.
1, 2, Tyler Palo's coming for you.
Truth.
All right.
You go in the cage. Cage goes in the water. You go in the water. Kelby Joseph's in the water. Our Kelby Joseph.
That's what's up, yeah.
And Dad Beats, a.k.a. Kirk Pinchon.
Dad Beats.
How you guys doing? I like.
Nice.
Dang, y'all should have told me to wear
Pink?
Pink because I don't like.
I know.
being-
I feel like we. Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Get out of here with your
That
salmon
is
shirt,
crazy.
Todd.
The thing
I
is,
always wear pink, and then
we just
today-
know.
That's fucked up.
We
Yeah.
don't call it.
Yeah, we
text,
don't.
just know.
We don't talk about this.
Yeah,
I'm
Well,
in a
Kelby and I
category-
are technically wearing the same shirt.
not remotely.
Come, this is the same exact shirt, just in a different color.
Agree to disagree.
Not in any way.
I bet it's the same exact shirt. Look at
You
this.
have a-
Look at his tag.
You have a thicker collar.
It's not true. You just
the-
think
Don't
that.
ever say Tyler Sticker.
The threading on yours is more fine than his. He has
the
much more of an
shoulder-
open threading.
You guys
on it.
think that
Yeah.
because of the optical illusion when you see.
Where'd you
his-
get yours?
You're an
I don't
optical
know.
illusion.
It was a Christmas
I was going to
gift.
say the same thing.
Because salmon
Yeah.
shirts.
Uh-huh.
We're all optical illusions,
I'm in
technically.
the same category
Oh,
as
boy.
Tyler.
Yeah, that's hurtful.
Yeah. We're trying to help Kelby.
Help Kelby.
here.
Yeah,
He doesn't-
since you guys are. That's probably for best.
Word. All right, let's
So-
nostalgia it up.
Before we get into the stories,
Yay.
couple updates of some things we've discussed in the past. Number one, as I alluded to, Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, the film,
Film.
the cinematic experience.
You watched it, right?
Gotta go fast.
I saw it.
Get yourself some chili dogs and slurp them up.
Good God.
Because
All
No.
right.
the movie has
not doing
grossed $210 million so far at the box office.
What was the budget?
93?
Whatever it was. But at any rate, this is very good. It's
93
the
million
highest
in
grossing
one
video game
company.
movie of all time.
Well, hit you with the caveats.
Okay, let's hear it.
I mean, don't most of the video game movies tank?
Yes.
Okay.
But this made it over the hump.
Yes.
But it's also doing well
As a movie.
As
as a movie.
yeah.
As a movie.
I think like
95 million.
I think
Ooh, okay.
I think like
Wow.
Guardian. This is just the first random example off the top of my head, but I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy made 310 million in its first week. So this is like not that far behind. And that movie was like the best movie of that year.
I didn't even know
2015.
what that was.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, I just watched it and was like, this is
Oh,
a
okay.
good
Yeah,
movie.
I don't know.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
same.
Yeah.
Same. But I have
So-
not watched Hedgehog.
So if you go into
Sorry.
the.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to make a Marvel joke. If you just go into any Marvel movie not assuming it's related, you'll probably like it more than if you know that it's a superhero movie.
No, I didn't like the one with
Marvel
the,
Slam.
the girl.
don't say it like that.
End sentence?
No, I'm forgetting.
Any
But
movie.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel's good.
It wasn't good.
So wait, you're the only one that saw it here, right?
Yeah, when
No, I saw it.
Oh, you saw it too?
Yeah.
You liked it?
I'm Andrew's son,
pervert.
guys.
Fucking pervert.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, why'd you go?
Are you
Oh,
embarrassed?
oh, my child.
Johnny
Are you
Johnny
embarrassed?
wanted to see it, and we have free tickets.
There you
Like
go.
we get free tickets to the Chinese theater.
Weird flex,
Really?
but okay.
How?
She worked for a company, and they gave her
Oh, gotcha.
that worked with them.
I thought you had Movie Pass still.
Yeah, they're the only customer that they
The
sold.
only ones.
Yeah, our premiums are fucking outrageous.
Yeah, they get free movie tickets, but they pay $5,000 a month.
Still worth it.
Worth
Free
it. Yeah,
The
And
only
a
way to pay it
discount.
off is that they have to always be at the.
exactly. It's worth it, guys.
Yeah, so I went to see Sonic the Hedgehog with my son on our birthday. My birthday's the
Aw.
23rd. His birthday's the 24th. So I woke up in the morning and my 3-year-old son, newly minted as 3 years old, I woke up and he had a treasure chest and he said, "We have to go on a Scooby-Doo mystery." So I opened it up and there was a clue inside of it. So we started following these clues. It said to make eggs. So I went and made eggs and there was a clue in the egg carton and the clue led us out into this area behind a garage, and then there was a brick that was loose from the brick fence, and I opened that and there was another clue in there, and then that led us to where we have to go after that. So we got ready, we got in the car. Oh, we went to some random address in Studio City, and it just told me it said to look in the glove box, and I opened the glove box and there was a bag of drugs. and it was like
nice.
oregano in a plastic bag.
Sure.
And
it
I was like, what kind of fucking Scooby-Doo mystery is this? And it said to take them to this random address in Studio City. So I went to this address, and I literally had no idea what this was. And I knocked on the door, and Chet opened the door. And it was Chet's house, his new apartment that I haven't been to yet. And so he had another clue, and we went to lunch. And then after we had lunch, we ate at Mendocino Farms. And then after that, the clue led us to Griffith Park, and we had to hike up, and we found another treasure box that was hidden in this like mound of grass. And then it was a bunch of eggs that we had to. There was eggs, and then some cups, and then some egg dye, and then we had to put the egg dye in the cups with water, and then we had to dye the eggs, and then it revealed letters on the eggs that told us to go to Echo Park Lake. So we went there. And then there was a clue written in chalk on this part of the park, and then that led us. And it was, and the whole time the clues are saying that like we're tracking. It was a Scooby-Doo mystery, and we were tracking down the blue shadow creature. And so this all basically led us to the movie theater, and then the last thing was that there was tickets for Sonic the Hedgehog. So we went to see Sonic the Hedgehog. I was very enjoyable. I think the movie like it feels very much like it felt very formulaic of like this is like all the beats that we have to hit in a action adventure movie, and like a lot of the things like just felt very rushed and not developed very well. And like Jason Marsden is in the movie. He's like the main character. James Marsden. As soon as I said it, I was like, that does not sound right, and I couldn't conjure the right thing. James Marsden is the main character, and he's like such a generic, underwritten, like
So James Marsden
character that's just like, oh, this is not a real person. This is just a movie. This is just like the everyman, like avatar for the audience. And all of the conflicts that he has in the movie, you don't care about, and you just know that like there's no suspense for them. You know that they're going to work out, and they usually every problem he has usually immediately resolves itself within like 2 seconds, to the point where you never care about anything that's happening to him. And in general, it was just it just felt like a movie that was like very written, very formulaically, and kind of it felt less like a movie and more like a experience for kids. But that being said, for what it was super charming, and the Sonic character looked great. He was a great character. It was funny, and I enjoyed it.
I would have loved.
I think it is maybe the best video game movie ever made.
I would have loved, after that whole big thing of getting to the movie theater, the whole scavenger hunt. You're like, I don't want to fucking see this. What the? This is the shittiest birthday gift ever.
I was actually surprised that my wife.
Tired. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it took pretty much. It was like we woke up at like 8, and then the movie was at 5.
Oh yeah, no, it's a good day.
I was actually surprised that my wife got tickets to that movie, more so that because I was just like, she knows that this movie exists. But apparently the original idea was that we were going to go see Onward, but then it wasn't out yet.
Yeah, it hasn't come out yet.
It was whatever.
Yeah.
But that was why we went and saw it. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, despite those nitpicky criticisms. Those are like, the movie's for kids.
Yeah, it's for
like
kids.
I'm talking about it like if it was a movie that was supposed to be for adults, but it's not. It's for kids. And for what it was, I thought it was very enjoyable. And the thing that I loved most about it is that the way that it sets up in the end. Spoiler alert: if you haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog,
I will.
I want to see it this weekend.
Guarantee I'm not seeing it.
Spoil it.
Wait! Don't
Marsden
spoil
his
it for
dad?
Kelly.
they're not really. I mean, it's not really spoiler. I mean, number one, you can't really spoil the movie. It's like, oh, they get into trouble and then they save the day, and then like there's.
He's really a Skywalker the entire time, guys.
Sonic dies.
You joke, Kelby, but there. What was it? Fuck! This is such a funny story, and I just can't remember the details of it.
Well, while you think about it, Tyler, what'd you think?
I liked most of it. It was exactly what Andrew described it as, like an experience for kids. But one thing, they just directly stole the scene with Quicksilver from X-Men.
150% 50 million
The last slow mo
billion
scene,
percent.
I was like, I've
Just
seen this before.
directly stolen.
Yeah, and
Directly.
like moves them all around, makes them hit each other in a comedic way. Eats something that's flying in the air in the exact same way, other than like licking soup. He eats chili dogs that are flying. In
Does it
slow-mo.
feel like an homage or straight up? No, they're just,
No, it's just they saw that
completely
scene and they were
stolen.
just like, let's also
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it also kind of like it makes sense to what Quicksilver's power is in the X-Men movies, but like up until this moment happened, it never establishes that Sonic can do that. Like he's
Right.
very fast, but it really never establishes that he's like that fast that he can actually like, and that he can. It never establishes that he's not only super fast, but also like he is experiencing time differently.
Right.
Because that's the whole thing with Quicksilver is like he experiences time differently. So while he's going fast, he's experiencing everything in like slow motion. Like he sees everything as like time has stood still, and his mind can like sort of process time at a slower rate. Where as he's going at this blink of an eye speed, he can see you and see that you're just frozen in time, and then he can like lift up your arm and then like put a hat on you and stuff. And
So Sonic is trash.
it never establishes that that's what
Right.
Sonic can do until this moment. And I've
Exactly,
never
yeah.
known Sonic the Hedgehog to have that power. Like I used to read the Sonic the Hedgehog comics when I was a kid, and he's never had that. It's never established that he experiences time differently.
Right.
He's just very fast. But in this moment, they just completely.
Yeah.
It's an illogical moment that is a cool scene, but also it's just 100% stolen from that Quicksilver scene.
It was weird.
Who's
watching
faster, him or Flash? Go.
it. The Flash.
Damn, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, in
mindset.
the movie, that scene alone kind of establishes that like he's just infinitely fast.
I mean, if they were ever to do like a crossover thing, you could say that Sonic dips into the Speed Force the way that he uses it.
So is there plans for? Are they like, well, we're doing a
Well, that's the
sequel?
thing. That's what my favorite part about the movie, because the movie is like it's a very weird. Because there's all this lore around Sonic. Like Sonic was a video game back in the 90s, but then with the Sonic comics, Sonic became this huge thing with this giant fan base for like the story and mythology elements of Sonic the Hedgehog. There's 30 years of comic books, and there's all these different characters, and there's all this different lore, and there's tons of like Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction that exists.
Don't read it.
And
I just thought he was a video game.
That's literally what I thought too.
and like, you know, if you play some of the later games like Sonic Adventure that go more into the lore, or if you watch some of the shows like Sonic Underground or Sonic the Hedgehog, there's 3 or 4 different Sonic the Hedgehog shows. There's the one that was like the first one that was more of a fun and like a kiddie show that was kind of like just every episode Dr. Robotnik would do something crazy and then Sonic would stop him, and Urkel was his voice, and that was the thing that established
Jaleel White.
Yeah, Jaleel White.
Thank you.
And then they did Sonic the Hedgehog, which was like a darker, more serious version that got into the lore. And then Sonic Underground was like a future thing where they were living in a post-apocalyptic society. And some of the games have gone to the lore, like I said. And the movie is interesting because it throws all of that out the window, or at least it seemingly throws all of that out the window. So you watch the movie and you're like, oh yeah, they've just completely ignored all of the 30 years of mythology and canon for Sonic the Hedgehog. And it's just, the story's completely different. It has nothing to do with any of that. Sonic the Hedgehog is from an alien planet. He escapes to Earth because he's running away from some evil force that happens on his planet that forces him to leave. He's hiding out on planet Earth, living in a cave in this small Pacific Northwest town called Green Hills, which is a reference to the games where the first stage of Sonic the Hedgehog is Green Hill Zone. He gets really sad that he's alone, and he runs around this baseball diamond at like this breakneck speed, and he ends up like shooting a blast of blue energy into the sky, and that gets registered by the government, and then they send a bunch of government people over to that town to like see what the anomaly was, and then they hire this guy who's this like brilliant scientist named Dr. Robotnik,
and that's Jim Carrey.
And then he comes, and then he's the villain. And so it's just throwing out all the lore because, you know, not only is that not the origin story of Sonic the Hedgehog, has nothing to do with the story that's told in any of the comics or any of the games or anything like that. but also like Dr. Robotnik, like that's not his name. His name is Eggman. Dr. Robotnik was just a name that they gave him in the American version of the games. They've since went back and changed that, and now he's known as Eggman. So the whole movie you're going through, and you're like, this is completely nothing to do with the actual mythology or lore of the games or the story. It's just this new thing that's very surface level of like Sonic the Hedgehog is this cool little hedgehog guy, and then Dr. Robotnik is just Jim Carrey with like a hipster mustache, and then he chases him, and it's very surface level of like getting rid of all of that stuff and just making this new kind of like more commercialized version of it, similar to like the Transformers movies or whatever, or even like the X-Men movies where, instead of Wolverine wearing the yellow spandex, they all wear these like leather combat uniforms or whatever. But then at the end,
You're gonna spoil it?
Yeah.
it's not a spoiler.
It's
It's not a spoiler. It's not a
You're
spoiler.
gonna just ruin it for
It's
me.
just a
But now he's
setup.
not gonna go see it.
I will never go see this ever.
It's not a spoiler. It's a setup for the sequel. It's not a spoiler.
It's a post-credit scene.
So
What?
you don't care. Stop pretending like you care.
This guy is wild.
I'm here for you.
Thank you.
So you go through the movie and you kind of accept it. You're like, this is a different thing. But then at the end, after the movie has ended, no spoilers for the actual movie, in the post-credit scene, because the whole thing is Dr. Robotnik doesn't look like Dr. Robotnik. He's Jim Carrey with like a little hipster, like curly mustache.
I've seen it in the
It's
commercial.
stylistically similar to the real Dr. Robotnik, which is this fat, egg-shaped dude who wears these goggles. He wears this like red spandex suit, and then he has this brush mustache that like juts out to like here, and he's bald. Jim Carrey has hair. The mustache is stylistically similar, but not the same.
Okay, so what happens?
And so towards the end, he's in this spaceship, and he opens up the hatch, and he's wearing like a suit that's kind of like that red suit that the Eggman wears. And they kind of make fun of it. And they're like, "What's up with the suit?" And he's like, "It's a flight suit. It regulates my body temperature or whatever." So you're like, "Oh, okay, I get it." They're doing little subtle nods to the costume or whatever. But then after the whole thing happens, basically what happens is like he gets blown up, and then
Still not a spoiler.
it shows him after the aftermath, and so the explosion has blown off his hair, so he's bald, and then his mustache has been blown to that full brush mustache,
I see.
and he looks like the real Dr. Robotnik, the real Eggman. And then a portal opens up, and fucking Tails steps through.
I used to love
Miles Tails Prower, and he's like reporting back to headquarters. It appears that Sonic has escaped into this onto this planet, and it's like, oh shit, they're not ignoring the lore, they're not ignoring the mythology. This whole movie was just an origin story, and it's setting up for them to get into the real shit. So
The real shit.
the movie was
of
enjoyable.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
The real movie
Yeah.
was the movie was enjoyable, but what I was most excited for is that it seems like it's setting up for like a legit delving into the real story of Sonic the Hedgehog and all of the nerdy shit that exists with 30 years of continuity.
After all that, are you going to go see it?
I mean, to be honest with you, I definitely was gonna go see it, if not tomorrow night, Saturday. But now I know the whole movie, so I mean,
I told you nothing about the actual movie.
all right, we'll see. I'm a pirate. Let's move on to the next story.
I genuinely didn't mean to talk about that story for that long. I just literally wanted to say the thing, but then I got excited about talking about that.
Which is so odd for you.
Yeah. So this is an update / correction on my end. So we talked last week about Lark Voorhees being sad that she didn't get invited back to the Saved by the Bell reboot, and you were like, "Yeah, but Screech too." And I was like, "Oh yeah, Screech like doesn't."
Yeah.
They probably approached him. He like doesn't want to have anything to do with this. So I was wrong.
Oh.
And not only did they not approach him, but recently he released a video. It's like I think like TMZ bought it up or something like that, where it's basically him talking about how they did not approach him, and he was not asked to return to the Saved by the Bell reboot, and he thinks that all of the cast should have showed solidarity and held out for the entire cast to return.
He's also been in porn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, but that's old.
Well, I mean,
Was he in porn as like I'm acting in porn. Look at me, or was he actually doing porn?
No, he was in porn. He
He did
was
porn.
really
He
in
did the
porn.
porn
But
in
that's
the
not.
porn.
But that's not even the worst part. That's not even the thing that's not even like
There's nothing wrong with doing
That's not even the thing that that Disney would like sever ties with him for. He stabbed somebody.
Oh.
Did he?
Yes.
Did he? Why are you bringing it up, man? Messing this man's up.
He was arrested in Wisconsin
When?
for getting into a fight and stabbing somebody.
What year
and
was this?
This was like a year ago.
Screech.
Did they drop charges? Did he? Let's look at. Let's delve,
look at
'cause
it. Because that's not that bad.
Stabbing
That's not
someone's
da-
not
yes, it
bad.
is.
That's
No.
assault.
Well, the thing is, we don't know the story. If somebody was approaching him and he was just trying to protect himself and he stabbed
I don't
somebody,
think stabbing is the answer when somebody's approaching
it don't
you.
matter what your answer is. He could have just been like, "Yo, y'all bothering me? You bigger than me? You know
It's
what?"
weird.
I'ma
That's
have
why
to
he was
stab you."
convicted of stabbing someone
So,
instead of,
Yeah.
hitting the guy and
man, y'all don't
actually
like the
claiming
justice system
self-defense.
any other time. But then when Screech trying to get the bag, y'all don't want to support him. But put Screech on, man.
On December 26, 2014, Diamond was arrested in Ozaki County, Wisconsin, for possession of a switchblade knife, which he was alleged to have pulled during a bar altercation
Because it's 1976.
in which a man was stabbed. Amanda Schultz, his fiance, also faced a charge of disorderly conduct in relation to the incident, was found guilty and fined $500. On May 29, 2015, Diamond was convicted of 2 misdemeanors, carrying a concealed weapon and disorderly conduct. He was clear of the most serious charge, recklessly endangering public safety. He served sentenced 4 months in prison. He served 3 months and was released on probation. So that's why they don't want to work with him, because he got into a bar fight and like stabbed somebody.
What was the last year that you said? 2019, 2018,
2015.
Man, that's so long ago, man. Give Screech the bag, bro. My goodness.
Disney is not going to work with him. He stabbed somebody.
Disney works with Kevin Hart.
He didn't stab anybody.
Kevin Hart has driven drunk 90 billion times, gets in car accidents, and leaves the scene of the crime.
You know what?
Come
You're
on.
right. Fuck Kevin Hart, guys. That dude needs to
I
go to
mean,
jail.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah,
That's bad.
absolutely. If he does actually do that, fuck Kevin
I'm on
Hart.
the other side of it, where it's like also cancel Kevin Hart.
Yeah, that's kinda-
I didn't mean to say that.
I think that driving.
You're the one who did it.
I think
You
that,
know what?
I think
I'm
that
just saying equality for the sake of equality. And then, you know what? If I'm gonna bring people up, the girl from Family Matters did porn too, and I want to see her on the show.
But I don't
girl
think they
from
care
Family
about
Matters
the
did
porn
porn?
thing. I don't
Yeah.
think, I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue
the
is
only
that
girl,
he
yeah.
stabbed somebody.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about Kevin Hart, I think that's worse. I think that driving drunk and endangering other people around you is like one of the most abhorrent things you can do. I think it's disgusting that you would ever get behind a wheel intoxicated and endanger the lives
He's done it
of
multiple
families. I think it's
He's a piece of
it's
shit.
I think it's one of the grossest things you can do.
Let me
And
let me
he's
ask you
still
this
in
question.
Disney
I'm
movies.
going to pivot from Mr. Hart, go back to Mr. Diamond.
Oh, yeah.
So, does anyone? I've seen the Saved by the Bells, but I was a little past my age. But is anyone like, no, we need him?
I mean,
I think
he's the
he was,
guy.
I think he was the fan favorite of the
Really?
show.
Yeah.
definitely.
He was-
more than
he
Zach.
was the
more
heart-
than Zach. I mean, Zach was the heart, or not even really Zach was the heartthrob. He was just
But
the
like-
guy leading the
like,
show.
as a kid,
Screech was like the
Were you
Urkel
like-
of Saved by the Bell.
to me, he was the most annoying.
That's why.
I mean, mostly it was we all like
I mean, I was there for
maybe
Kelly.
wanted to be one of the
Yeah.
top guys, but everybody identified as Screech.
Really? Because to me, Screech was annoying on purpose. He
I
wasn't
think-
like annoying, like, oh, he's just a nerdy kid. He doesn't know better. He was like purposely annoying.
If they brought back Family Matters for a reboot and just did not involve Urkel at all,
that's
people would freak out, and there would be like a
Yes,
what do
agree.
you can't do Family Matters without Urkel. But I think the reason why this happened, that they're doing this Saved by the Bell reboot and like Screech isn't involved and like it's just moving forward without it, I think the reason for that is because I don't think anybody gives a shit about
That's
Saved
what
by
I'm
the
saying.
Bell.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, just the show in
Saved by the
general.
Bell, yeah, yeah.
I think the show was liked when it was on. I don't think that it was anybody's favorite show. I think the show was fairly mediocre when it existed.
100%.
I think people liked it, but I don't think anybody is riding for Saved by the Bell in the same way that people ride for Family Matters or Full House or
Proud Family.
Proud Family.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with this?
It's coming back.
What's
Yeah,
the
sure.
controversy?
Yeah.
behind it? Who?
No,
I'm
that's
talking
what
about
he's saying,
I'm talking
like,
about live action sitcoms.
like
with
people,
no-
people would
I'm sorry,
ride
I'm
for
sorry.
it.
Got
Like,
Yeah, I don't think anybody is like anybody rides for Saved by the Bell. I think that I don't think anybody's favorite show was Saved by the Bell.
It feels more like they're
Somebody's
writing
favorite
for it
shows.
ironically.
So Screech was the fan favorite of the show, but to the degree that anybody was a fan of Saved by the Bell.
It would be interesting if the producers and cast got together and like, yeah, let's bring back Lark. And that's it. And Dustin's like,
Well, no, that's good. I mean, if they want to do that, that would be completely okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because Dustin stabbed somebody.
That's what I
and
heard.
she has a mental condition.
Yeah.
that she is getting.
She has
help
mental
for.
condition and she didn't stab anyone.
Exactly. So bring back Lark. Absolutely.
That's light, man. Y'all sensitive. Listen, if they could do a Full House without the Olsen twins, they could do it without Screech. Unfortunately, Screech, you got to go out and I don't know, do more porn.
If I found out that anybody here stabbed somebody, I would not have hired them. That's just.
I mean,
Oh, you too, Todd?
Even if it was self-defense.
But this wasn't self-defense.
How you know? It was a bar altercation.
Okay,
Y'all be quick
if
to
you have a
judge.
knife and somebody else doesn't have a knife, that's not self-defense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, if you're,
All right.
he wasn't attacked. He got into a fight at a bar.
Everybody who's listening to this right now, I would like for you to comment or email or what's the nostalgia email?
Nostalgicastpod@gmail.com.
Send us an email and say, do you need the whole story? Tweet us at the Nostalgicast. You hear the story, somebody gets into a bar altercation and they stab somebody. Do you need to hear the whole story or do you immediately convict them? At the
Yes, you
Nostalgicast.
do need to hear the whole story, but we know the whole story. He
You don't.
started the fight. He's
So?
an asshole. He's got a history of violence.
So he was losing the fight and maybe you had to pull the knife out. Let people know what the real
So
deal
yeah,
was.
that's what self-defense
I
is to
like-
Kelby.
yeah.
It's
I
making
also
sure
like-
you win.
That's your question for the Nostalgia
Yeah.
Cast
Yep.
fans.
Also, add a little nostalgia. Have you ever stabbed someone? Tell us about it.
At the Nostalgic.
And do you feel nostalgic about it?
What's
Yeah.
the tweet, Todd? Again, one more time.
At the Nostalgicast.
At the Nostalgicast on Twitter.
Twitter?
Dang it.
First of all,
Okay, Boomer.
Twitter. I had to, those things.
but we don't need to have that question answered because
Yeah,
yes,
I
you do need to hear the whole story before passing judgment. But that is a moot point because we do know
So
the
you
whole story.
prefer that he had just gotten beat up?
Then stabbing someone
Than stabbing somebody? He started the fight.
Doesn't
sounds
matter.
like he needed to get beat up.
Or maybe just use these as his weapons.
Exactly.
It's
What kind
A
of little
of this action.
bitch do you have to be?
A little of this action.
All
A little
right.
thunder, a little lightning.
I was trying to fight for you, my man, Dustin, but they don't want you to get the bag. They want you to stay in porn. So
Why are you fighting for? He's a notorious
nobody
asshole.
loved him. That's why.
Everybody
Dustin
loved him.
the
He was
Screech
the favorite
Diamond,
character.
see?
He was an asshole. He treated everyone like shit on the set. They all hated him because he was such a piece of shit.
Damn, you don't know.
Maybe Tweeter loves him.
Yeah, tweeter.
Go find out on the Tweeter. I'm
So
going to be saying that forever.
last
You
episode,
should.
as part of Can You Go For That, we talked about Christopher Lloyd saying that he would love to do a Back to the Future 4. And I think I feel like Back to the Future has just come into the zeitgeist because Christopher Lloyd said that, and then there was that recent deep fake video where they took a scene from Back to the Future with Doc Brown and Marty McFly in the hallway of the high school, and they put Robert Downey Jr.'s face on Christopher Lloyd, and they put Tom Holland's face on Michael J. Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And
See that.
I think it's just become in the zeitgeist. People are talking about it. So as a result of that, co-creator, co-writer of the Back to the Future trilogy, Bob Gale, the one that is not Robert Zemeckis, who directed the film, he recently spoke out and he said, so co-writer and producer Bob Gale continues to insist that he will never see a remake or reboot of the Back to the Future series, and the reasoning that we will never see a remake or reboot of the Back to the Future series, and the reasoning he provides is definitely solid. From an interview with BBC News, he says, "We'll talk about this because
I love it. I
part
love it
of
so
this
much.
is funny, not funny, but funny in terms of what we talked about last episode." So he said, "You don't sell your kids into prostitution. It was the wrong thing to do. We put the end at the end of part 3, plus Michael J. Fox isn't in shape to do the movie. And nobody wants to see Marty McFly having Parkinson's disease. And nobody wants to see another actor playing Marty McFly if it's supposed to be a continuation." Before we talk about this, just for context, officially, a new movie can't ever happen without the permission of Gale and director Robert Zemeckis, as the two actually had it written into their contracts with Universal that no new Back to the Future movie can be made without them giving it the green light. And this is the reason why, number one, a Back to the Future reboot has never happened, and why it's likely to never happen because, in a unprecedented contract move, they have it in their contract that like they both have to agree and give permission before they can ever do another sequel or a reboot of Back to the Future.
I love that they put that in their contract. That's
That's
so smart.
I really like that as like their rules, but also fuck that guy.
Well, just really quick before we get to
Okay,
that, 'cause and the reason why they were able to do that is because whenever they did this movie, it's funny because you end up being able to get away with these things whenever people don't care as much. When you have a really big thing that everyone's really excited about and really enthusiastic about, then that's whenever your contracts you kind of get screwed a little bit. But the whole thing with Back to the Future was. Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale had come off of basically doing 2 movies that were huge financial failures. They did Used Cars in 1942.
Great movie, Used Cars.
So they did I Want to Hold Your Hand.
It's okay.
That was their first movie.
Yeah.
It was like a small movie. It did okay.
Yeah.
So off of that, they did Used Cars, which was produced by Steven Spielberg. Financial failure.
Yeah.
And
Cult
then
classic.
they co-wrote 1942, which Steven Spielberg directed.
1941.
Sorry. Huge, giant financial flop.
It's a turd.
So they basically were in a situation where they had just basically fucked over Steven Spielberg twice. And they had this movie. Steven Spielberg was hesitant to support them on it because they had basically just written 2 flops that he had his name on. And nobody wanted to do the movie. They shopped it around and nobody wanted it because it involved a thing where a kid goes back in time and then his mom has the hots for him.
Yeah.
So Disney was like, this is porn.
We like
Get Dustin.
They finally got a
Thank you.
They finally got a deal by attaching Michael J. Fox to it. It was literally on the strength of Michael J. Fox being attached to it because he was huge and hot from Family Ties at the time. So he got attached to it, which gave it a little bit more clout, which finally got it up greenlit at Universal. But because their names, they were sort of in writer jail at the time, writer and director jail, where people just kind of didn't want to work with him because they had just done these 2 big flops. And also the IP was sort of producers didn't think that time travel was a thing that anyone would go see a movie about. And also the whole incest stuff in it was just very iffy for everybody. So it was greenlit at Universal on the strength of Michael J. Fox, but they were very hesitant about it. So they were more willing to give them things like that because they thought this movie was going to be a failure. So they were like, yeah, sure. You get fucking final cut.
Yeah, take what you want.
Yeah.
It's fine. Wasn't Eric Stoltz the first one though?
Well, yeah, but you're right. No, you're right.
Yeah. So maybe that part of the Michael J. Fox part.
Yeah, maybe that part I'm misremembering.
Yeah.
Because you're right.
What?
Originally, Eric Stoltz was Marty McFly. They shot 80% of the movie with him.
Oh, I've heard about this. Yeah.
And then through at some point through production, Robert Zemeckis was just like, this is not working.
Yeah.
And so they made this really difficult decision to recast him with Michael J. Fox. And actually, some of the footage that they shot with Eric Stoltz is still in the movie.
That's
But yeah, you're right.
But I would like to point out
definitely
that if somebody in a screener had told them that he wasn't good for the part, they could have handled that a lot earlier.
But no, this was way earlier before they would ever have shown it to anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't remember. You're right,
Yeah.
and I don't remember how they were able to get it greenlit at Universal. I was misremembering
Yeah.
that. I think it was that because Michael J. Fox was attached.
Yeah.
But now that you've pointed that out, I don't remember why. But for some reason,
just
it
got
got greenlit.
Yeah.
But in a very hesitant way, where Universal was like, we don't really have a
We'll
lot
just
of faith
put it
in
out.
this.
We'll put here's your budget. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
What about what's going to happen? This sounds dark, but they die. Do you think Universal's like, all right, here's Back to the Future 4 because they're dead?
Probably, yeah. Depending on the whole thing with their estate and stuff.
Yeah.
It
But-
could be something like how the Ghostbuster movies.
Yeah,
come
that's
back.
what I would imagine. Is gonna
Something like
happen.
that,
Yeah.
where it's like a reimagining of the story, and they kind of
Yeah,
talk
but they
about-
still need. They wouldn't need permission anymore, so they can do anything they want if Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis die.
But
Yeah,
also,
yeah,
So to go back
Oh,
to what you were saying, which I knew you would talk about, despite the fact that I love that they got this written into their contract and they just have the keys to the kingdom, and that's why we've never seen a shitty reboot of Back to the Future. Bob Gale is a fucking dick.
yeah,
And I'm not talking about this
Oh.
thing. I'm saying in general, he's just an asshole. That's why he That's why he's never really done a lot. Like he wrote those 3 movies. He co-wrote those 3 movies. I Want to Hold Your Hand, Used Cars, and 1941. And then he wrote the Back to the Future trilogy, one of the most popular, highest grossing film franchises of all time. And then after that, he kind of never did anything else. He wrote a couple more movies, but he hasn't really worked a lot. Probably partially because he probably just made enough money from Back to the Future. He's just like, but also because he's just hard to work with, and he's just kind of burned bridges in the industry because he's just kind of notoriously like a hard to work with dick. So I'm not surprised that he would say something like this because he's just kind of a boomer douchebag.
I guess you wouldn't know, but I was gonna say, like, in what way is he kind of like Ed Norton hard to work with, or like he's just, or like James Cameron hard to work with?
He's just like very opinionated and kind of hard to budge on things, even if like his opinion isn't necessarily practical or right, and he's unwilling to like collaborate with people, and so people just don't like really working with him.
All right, sounds like someone in this office. Todd.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't talk about Todd like that.
Ableist trash.
Whoa!
I thought we were drawing connections between him and Bob. So I'm sorry.
That I'm not surprised of him saying that, but it's funny because we literally were like, I would only like to see a Back to the Future sequel if it's about Marty McFly with Parkinson's.
And he goes back in time to fix it. I think that's really moving. I think that's wonderful. Like he's like, I gotta fix it.
I don't think I was here for that.
But that feels very much like just a very kind of like tone deaf thing for him to say, that like somebody who just hasn't been in the industry for so long and just is disconnected and just isn't up to speed with like how things have gone and doesn't realize like how insensitive that is to say. What do you
I don't understand the faces you're making.
It's objectively insensitive to say that.
That's like saying
the prostitution.
Nobody wants to see a black Superman.
Wait,
all right, maybe
what's
nobody
going
wants
on?
to see that.
But that's what I'm saying. People do want to see a character with
Read to
Parkinson's
me the
disease.
part where-
saying that nobody wants to see a Marty McFly with Parkinson's.
Yeah, that's
I think
terribly insensitive.
I think how it's his
People
thing.
with Parkinson's disease want to be represented by characters that aren't completely inhibited by it in every way, the way they are portrayed now.
Didn't Michael J. Fox have a show about him in Parkinson's and it didn't do that well? Having Parkinson's?
I think you're just making up that it didn't do that well.
It didn't do that well.
I mean, it did a season.
It may have gotten canceled, but that doesn't mean that
And
people
then I
don't
think-
want to see
I think-
characters with Parkinson's disease. It
I
means
think
that they
in
didn't
his
like the
mind,
show.
it's not about the Parkinson's disease. I think he's probably thinking more about the fact that Barney McFly is representative of youth, like a young character who, like, is this huge character, and then to see him, I don't want to say like necessarily decrepit, but no longer in that place where he was. I think in his mind, it's like to see something so youthful and powerful of when he made it. That's, I mean,
I
don't know how that's insensitive.
The only reason, well, I'll explain to you exactly why it's insensitive, but the only reason why it doesn't make sense is because we've already seen future Marty in Back to the Future 2, and we've seen that in his 50s, he doesn't have Parkinson's. And so that's the only reason why it doesn't make sense is that we've already seen him, but
you could just pretend that never happened.
He could have gotten it.
Like
he could have gotten. Well, you couldn't pretend it never happened, but you could. Maybe he got it after, or maybe whenever he changed the future and got rid of the alternate reality, where Biff becomes the fucking mayor or whatever. Not mayor, but when he becomes super rich and powerful, maybe something about how he changed the timeline caused him to branch off and get Parkinson's. You could come up. It's a fucking time travel.
It's a
movie.
way easy to explain it.
The idea that
the reason why it's insensitive is because he's literally saying, so there's all these people that like suffer Parkinson, and he's basically saying like nobody wants to see you.
That's not what he said.
Yes, he is. He said nobody wants to see Marty
exactly
McFly
what he
with
said.
Parkinson's.
Nobody wants to see Marty McFly with Parkinson's.
Yeah.
He didn't say nobody wants to see a movie about a person with Parkinson's. Isn't that what he said?
I feel like if you replace Parkinson's with black, you would just you're being so hypocritical because you talk about these things on your podcast all the time.
Blackstalgia.
But because you don't have Parkinson's and because you don't know anyone with Parkinson's, you just are shutting off empathy.
I'm not just saying he's saying nobody wants to see somebody with Parkinson's. He's saying nobody wants to see this character that I created, who is this
Marty
ultimately
But
youthful
that's
young character.
But that's the thing is like that's the argument people have about why there should never be a black Superman, because they say like Superman's white, he's not black.
Yeah.
But it would be very valuable to take an existing powerful character that everybody knows and loves and destroy the illusion that that character has to be white by making him black. And then people will be like, oh yeah, I guess it doesn't matter what he is. And the idea that he's white is just a illusion. It's just a made up rule that I'm.
That's not the same thing.
Yes, it
because
is.
what you're saying is what you're
movie.
saying is black is a disease. No,
I'm not.
It's not.
The opposite of what I'm saying is he's saying nobody wants to see this character who was young, youthful, going into the past, jumping into the future, doing all this stuff, and now decrepit and old and riddled with disease. To me, I'm like, okay, I get that.
You're conflating two things. There's a validity to the idea that nobody wants to see a movie about a youthful character years later as just this old man. That there is a validity to that of like, yeah, maybe a fourth Back to the Future shouldn't be made because we just don't need to see these characters in their older years or whatever. But that has nothing to do with him having Parkinson's, and I think that it would be very valuable. And no, I'm not saying that being black is a disease. I'm saying that there are people in this world that have a identity, whether that is being black or being female or dealing with some kind of disease or mental handicap. And it's not to say that being black is a disease or a mental handicap. It's just saying that there are people that have these identities, being fat or whatever.
Sure.
And they don't get to see themselves represented on screen a lot.
But
especially
in every movie.
And whenever they do get
it's his character in his movie.
Okay, but Marty
McFly.
Marty McFly represents teenagers in America. He's supposed to be somebody that you can see yourself as going on these adventures.
It would be very powerful to be like, here's a character, an established character, everybody knows them, everybody loves them, and he got this disease, and now let's see. And obviously, this is never going to happen. They're never going to make a Back to the Future movie where Marty McFly has Parkinson's. But it would be a very powerful and empowering statement to make a movie where they flip that paradigm and they say, like, somebody with Parkinson's disease can be the main character of a movie.
I mean, I get that in your opinion, that's a good movie. And I don't disagree that that's a good movie, but I just don't understand why what he said is offensive. I just don't get it.
Because when you create a character that's supposed to represent any teenager in America and you say that this character, nobody wants to see it with your specific ailment, it means that you're less than those people. That's what he's saying. He sees you as less than what the American standard should be or the teenage standard should be.
Yeah, he's saying nobody wants to see Marty McFly with Parkinson's, which is just Parkinson's erasure. It's just like nobody wants to see that. Just get that away from us. Get that off our screens.
That's not how I read it. But
how does Bane read it?
God damn it.
Why did you do that for?
Bob Gale is able as trash.
Thank you.
If any of his family members dealt with Parkinson's, he'd be more empathetic. But unfortunately, human nature dictates that we don't care about things unless they directly affect us.
I did it because I hate myself.
Yeah.
Well, either way. All right.
First news. Diablo 4 is going to let you rebind movement and attack from left click.
I have no idea what that means.
I just creamed
I literally have no idea.
We're not going to talk about that. I just thought it'd be funny if I
say this.
Literally, that's just like word salad in my head. I don't understand none of it.
Diablo 4 is coming out, and there's a new Diablo is a franchise that's like has a huge fan base and hundreds of thousands of people play it. And the thing about these games is like when you love these games, you get really into the minute mechanics of it. Every little detail of it, like people who play it get obsessed with like the little minute details of the mechanics. So when they announced that Diablo 4 was going to have these like changes to the mechanics of the game, it was like huge news within like video game circles. And I saw a lot of articles about it. Like you can attack from the left click. And I just thought it'd be funny if I just added that as if we were going to talk about that as a news story. We're not going to talk about that.
Just dug deep in it.
Well, shout out to Diablo.
So it's official news. Speaking of Stevie Spielberg, He is no longer directing Indiana Jones 5, and James Mangold is in talks to direct Indiana Jones 5.
James Mangold, he did
directed-
Wolverine.
He
Yep.
directed the Wolverine and Logan,
He's
as well as
Oh.
3:10 to Yuma,
he's done a lot of good stuff.
which is a better movie
He's
than either of those.
310
two.
Demon is really good. He's a very he's one of those like solid directors.
Oh.
Yeah,
He doesn't. There's
get
not a lot. There's not a lot
praise.
of flash and flare, but you're like he knows how to like tell a story.
Dope.
The 5th Indiana Jones movie has been in development for years now, ever since Disney regained the full rights to the franchise from Paramount. However, it's had a difficult time moving forward and has easily been delayed twice from its original summer 2019 release date due to script rewrites. Of course, it doesn't help that Steven Spielberg and Harrison Ford have been keeping as busy as ever through it all. Variety is reporting Spielberg has decided to step down as director on Indiana Jones 5, but will remain on board as a producer. Mangold, whose recent films include the Oscar-nominated X-Men movie Logan and last year's Ford vs. Ferrari, is currently in talks to replace him at the helm. I couldn't be less. I couldn't care less about a story
Yeah.
of something that I should care about a lot.
I zoned out middle of that.
I'm-
to be honest.
I am mildly interested at best because I was gonna see it either way,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I'll
you
see it.
substituted a guy for another guy.
Yeah, I'll see it, but like it's just a testament to how these like pop culture is just so like the current movie industry just churns pop culture so much that like it can make you just not care about something that you love.
Yeah.
Because it's like I should care about this, and I just don't
Should you?
like. I'll see it, but like I'm not particularly excited about another Indiana Jones movie. I should be mad or upset that Steven Spielberg is not directing it because he's directed all of them.
I mean, he got
But
family
I
issues.
kind of
right
don't
now.
care.
He got what issues?
He got family issues.
I mean,
right
I think
now.
it would.
That's why he dropped out. He's just like, oh,
Yeah, I mean,
I think it
anybody
would have
who
been
knows-
interesting had it been a different director,
Then James Mangold.
because James Mangold is so very just like in the establishment, a great director, but
Troy
not-
Duffy
Like if it
directing.
was Ryan,
Johnson.
no guy
Howard?
who Coogler,
Oh.
Ryan Coogler.
yeah,
That'd be
or,
an interesting
or if it
one.
was Quentin Tarantino, one of these guys that has some a little more flair, you'd be like, oh wow, that's really interesting. But it's just a guy for another
James
guy.
Mangold is
Nah.
like a Sean.
Mendes.
Sean, no, not Sean Mendes.
Oh, I love him.
Good reference.
yes.
Good
Yes,
reference.
He's like a Peyton
Who
Reed.
just did the?
I did.
Okay.
He's a Peyton Reed or a Sean Levy, just like a studio director guy who's just
Yeah.
like he'll come in and just make a movie that just has no style to it.
Yeah, and,
No,
they'll be-
you're-
and he'll
that's-
do it. He'll do it well. He'll do it under budget or on budget, and there'll be no issues. And
No.
Side note.
No. I just watched Ford versus Ferrari, and it was fantastic.
Was
it's
it
good.
How good can
It's
it be?
good.
So
It is entertaining and fun. Once I stopped watching it, it left my mind.
Do you have to be into cars for it?
No,
to be
because
into-
I hate
No, you
cars.
don't.
Really?
I don't like
It's so
cars.
good.
Is it like
it's
the
good.
banter between them is good, or
No,
The
it's
story.
I mean, Christian Bale,
It's well done.
you know, acts his butt off, and it's just good.
almost literally sometimes?
Yeah, and I went into it.
That was a good
thinking,
reference.
No,
Thanks.
I know. Yeah, the booty muscle. Yeah, he's good, man. James Mangold's good, and Logan, is like he's good. Yeah.
But there's there's no.
He is solid, but he doesn't have a
Yeah.
singular style.
Or like if like
that means he's a chameleon. That makes
yeah,
him
we're,
even
no,
better.
we're giving him props. We're just
Yeah.
for
saying
sure. Yeah,
because it's
It's
nothing
so
unique.
yeah, like
You're
white
oh.
bread. It
Like if it had been
doesn't
like
seem-
like if it had been like a Tarantino or a Spike Lee and a Ryan Coogler, you'd be like, oh
Crazy.
shit, that's really crazy.
Darren Aronofsky should wait. No,
That
I
would
got
be
it.
weird too.
No, I got it. What's my man's name from Breaking Bad?
Brian Cranston.
No. The creator.
Oh, Vince
Gillian.
Gilligan?
If he did it and everything was shaky cam.
Oh, God.
Wow.
All right.
It's
That'd be
just
sick.
it's Indiana Jones 5, but like everything is like you see Indiana Jones through a clear frying pan, like
Yeah.
from the perspective of the stove.
That'd be amazing.
Wow.
Yo, I just got
Kelby's
him a
on
job.
board.
I should. Yo, I'm gonna tweet him right
Tweet him
him out.
right now. Tweeter him.
Literally, you need to tweeter him on every episode.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf is like, "We're gonna go on an adventure, bitch."
Wait, tell me what company is making that? Oh, it's Disney.
Lucasfilms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lucasfilms. Got it.
I mean, what are they going to go after this time? What is there?
More gold.
Did they do the Fountain of Youth already?
Oh no.
All right.
But that's fake. All these other things are real.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
the
My bad. You're right.
aliens,
The
Yeah.
aliens.
the ancient
Yeah.
aliens that made contact with the
That's
Aztecs.
real.
Face melting.
Found Youth is fake.
Yeah. Jesus.
Vince Gilligan's not on Twitter.
Oh.
I'm
Really?
Just say his name.
You can talk to me. No,
Nope.
I tried to go for a Vince Gilligan, and it just I couldn't.
That was
do it.
weird.
It's weird.
He's got a very strange and unique voice where he's got like a little bit of like he's from like Virginia or something
It's
like
like
that.
very up in
and
here.
he's like really soft spoken, and he's
It's
kind
like
of
a Lincoln kind of.
So, who you
Vince Gilligan
tweetering?
I'm gonna Twitter Lucasfilms _LTD, and then I'm gonna just add Disney to it. Why not?
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
What are you tweetering?
Okay, I'm gonna say at Lucasfilms, I would like to see Vince Gilligan direct the new Indiana Jones movie. Also, I need my cut for that.
I'll give you a finder's fee
Yeah.
for just suggesting
Ted
that
Lieu on that
Vince
too.
Gilligan directs it.
I don't know, Luz.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, you use my Twitter clout. I need some of that.
That's right. I need my cut.
Before we get to this story, I just
Mhm.
have to really preface this. More than any story we've ever talked about, you've got to take this with a truckload of salt.
Yeah.
Just fucking bathe in it,
All right.
because this story is most likely total bullshit. But I just had to talk about it because it is such a crazy thing that is making its rounds on the internet right now, and people are talking about it. But it's just this huge rumor. It's really unsubstantiated, and like it sounds so absurd that I even kind of feel ridiculous even talking about it. But we had to talk about it. So recently, there's been a lot of shakeup with DC Comics. So DC Comics is owned by AT&T. It's part of the bigger machine of all that stuff.
I did not know that.
AT&T owns fucking, they own Time Warner. They own Turner Broadcasting, which is a subsidiary of Time Warner. They own DC Comics. That's why, the DC movies are all Warner Brothers and all that stuff. And obviously the DC movies, have been very inconsistent in their performance. You've had a couple of hits, mostly just a bunch of shit.
Mhm.
The comics industry, notoriously is just has struggled for decades. I mean, Marvel Comics back in the 90s was filing for bankruptcy. And comics just don't sell well, and they always try these gimmicks. The biggest thing that comics do, they did this back in the 90s, where they basically they stayed afloat, and they had this huge bubble where they produce all these different variants for comics. So a comic will come out, like whatever, The Amazing Spider-Man number 67. And there's 5 different variant covers. So there's the main one, and then there's like the second variant that's like the cover's drawn by a different artist, and then there's like the holographic version, and then there's the glow-in-the-dark version. And then a bunch of people will buy all of these thinking that they're going to be worth money someday. So somebody will go to the store and they'll buy all 5 variant versions of this issue of this comic. And they don't even read comics. They don't care about comics, but they just think that they're going to be worth money someday because there's this myth that comics are going to be valuable if you hold on to them, which is not true. And so that happened in the 90s, and there was this kind of boom where people were buying comics and they were kind of doing well. And then that whole thing kind of just like imploded. And that's whenever Marvel almost went out of business, whenever they filed for bankruptcy. And it's kind of happening again now, where like that variant cover thing is like really big now, but it's still like the comics industry has always struggled. And the only reason why Marvel Comics is doing as well as they do is because of the movies, basically. But DC doesn't really have that. So, sales are struggling for DC Comics, and the movies aren't really helping that well. And there's a lot of rumors that basically AT&T is kind of like saying like, yeah, we think we might be getting out of the comic publishing business.
Mm-hmm.
So there's rumors that they're going to sell off DC Comics. And the biggest rumor is that they're going to sell off DC Comics, and Disney is like the front runner to buy them. So this rumor is essentially that like there could be a possibility that Disney buys DC Comics and basically just merges that universe with Marvel. And then you have fucking Captain America, the Hulk, Batman, and Superman hanging out. which has happened before. They've had crossovers in the comics. It's not like a unprecedented thing.
Yeah.
There's been many crossovers between DC and Marvel over the years, but definitely not in the movies.
Was Joker a DC film?
Yeah.
Under DC, or was it?
Yeah, this is Warner Brothers.
Okay.
The Joker is a DC Comics character. So this is the rumor that's floating around right now, and it's basically on the heels of the fact that this is I don't even know what the origin of this is, but this is just like some insiders, quote unquote, have been saying that this is like a rumored thing where AT&T is thinking about selling DC, and like obviously Disney would be right there being like, we'll take that.
Yeah.
We'll take that off your hands.
About that seems like it probably won't happen.
I don't think any of this is this
yeah.
is insane. This is like this would be the craziest shit that's ever happened in like the world of media. If DC was bought by Marvel,
Yeah.
and the characters were merged together.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, what comes to my mind immediately is this whole HHI index market share thing, where when two companies merge, is it legal in the United States? But then I was just like, well, comic books, is it like comic books and comic movies are kind of like a subgenre of something else? So I don't know if that would, matter, because if you remember, like, the whole AT&T Sprint merger, and that like didn't happen, because it was illegal.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would, if that would be a part of that. But also, I think DC's issue, the issue with them joining Disney is like the kind of content that they make is so out of Disney's pocket that then we'll just always be watching the same movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly, like I said, I think that this rumor, which is all it is, should be taken with just a fucking
quarter grain of
just
salt.
like, what planet is made of salt? Just that. Take it with that.
Yeah.
There's got to be a planet out
eat
there
all
that's
the
made out of
salt with
entirely
that.
salt.
Yeah.
Uranus.
Does this mean that Marvel would also own like all the streaming rights to any DC stuff? Are they gonna own the DC streaming service, the whatever that's called, and all that stuff too? Because I feel like
I don't know. I mean, I
That's
really,
the thing.
I
It's
really
such
don't-
a rumor.
I really don't know where those
Gotcha.
lines are
It's-
drawn in the sand. I'll have to ask. I know the guy who runs that.
Runs what?
there can't be.
You know the guy
DC Universe.
DC, just DC.
Yeah,
Do you?
Superman?
Yeah.
Superman runs DC.
Oh,
he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know Superman.
I
He's
feel
a
like
big guy.
Batman definitely runs DC, but okay.
They'll come out of this slump because I feel like DC movies are starting to get better, anyways. Wonder Woman was good.
The Wonder Woman's coming out. Yeah, this is
another
all
Wonder
like
Woman, and then
rumor.
this last one that just came with Joker, and then the Emancipation of Mimi.
Yep.
All of them.
The Amazon Prime's League of Their Own TV show has announced full cast and story details.
This is good.
Oh, are they gonna gender swap it?
Oh my god, that'd be the most insulting fucking thing. Okay, it's the
terrible.
League of Their Own, set in the same time period, but it's men.
Yeah.
So it's just a baseball movie.
So
But
a
they
baseball
still
movie?
they still keep the concept of it's like a woman is Tom Hanks's character now,
Oh,
and they're all yelling at her still.
Yeah.
They're just
well, it's all the men who couldn't serve overseas.
Oh,
that come with
I
that.
like that.
It's
Yeah,
such-
that's good. That's
oh.
good. That's good.
Amazon Prime has revealed new details about the upcoming A League of Their Own series. The streaming platform has revealed the full cast along with story details. The series is based on Penny Marshall's 1992 movie of the same name, which was a fictional account of the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League's origins. The movie was a hit at the box office and has since been recognized by the Library of Congress. Amazon's League of Their Own will focus on new characters as opposed to the same ones from Penny Marshall's film. The movie will begin with the formation of the All-Girls Professional Baseball League in 1943. It then follows our heroes as they fight to keep the league alive through close games, injuries, sexual awakenings, and road trips across a rapidly changing United States. Oh, God. I'm going to...
If it doesn't
I
have
cannot
America
pronounce
Ferrera
these
in
names. It's going to be so bad.
I think the G's silent.
It needs to have America Forever and Gina Rodriguez in it. or else I'm not gonna watch
Bemisola
it.
Ikumelo will play Clance,
I don't know.
who was born and raised in Rockford, Clancy or Clance is Max. I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I don't remember the names. Is Max's best friend, or maybe these aren't even the names of the characters.
Yeah, they might be
They're new
names.
characters.
So Clancy is Max's best friend and biggest supporter, and a budding young artist in her own right. Kelly McCormick is Jess, a shortstop from Moose Jaw, Canada.
You said that name real easy.
I mean, it's just objectively easier to pronounce for anybody.
I'm messing with you.
Jess feels the most herself and wishes the games would never end. Roberta Colindres will portray Mita, a cool, calm, and collected pitcher from Texas Ranch Country. Mita's got a killer poker face on and off the field. She won't reveal her secrets easily. Priscilla Delgado is Izzy, straight from Havana. Izzy is the youngest, most enthusiastic Peach. Melanie
I think
Field.
that's her name. I think in the show.
Oh, her name is Peach. Melanie Field recurs as Joe. Recurs? What?
Her name is Izzy in the show.
Is it a show? Oh,
I'm pretty. They might be the Peaches.
Yeah, I don't know what the. Yeah, maybe
The
that's.
Georgia Peaches is the name of the.
Ah,
team.
yes.
Haha.
A power hitter from Queens who
That's
has
sexy.
survived countless escapades with her best friend Greta. Boisterous and up for anything, Joe will defend her teammates till the end. So I literally do not know any of those people.
This is gonna
So
be
strange. Wow.
No, I think it's gonna be.
Did
real
you see
good.
the
bad.
original?
Nah, it'll probably be fire.
The original's great. This,
Yeah,
I
the
think they're
original's
gonna
really
do. I
good.
think they're gonna honor it, and it's gonna be.
I hope so.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's gonna be better.
Is it going to be
The library.
2000s based?
No, it takes place. I mean,
What?
Right now.
Current day,
it
whatever.
takes place in
No, it
1943.
takes place in 1943.
The movie is about
Oh,
a
I'm so
real
fucking
thing that
stupid.
happened.
That's
Yes.
like they're inventing women's baseball now, right? They don't have that now.
God.
Are they allowed to dunk?
You gotta go.
There is crying in baseball.
Man, that's crazy. Do they put in emotions?
No, John Cryer is going to play the coach.
That's the tagline. This whole
There
thing
is
based on-
crier in baseball.
and it's just him like, come see John Cryer in a league of their own.
He's just
still
the
bald.
only billing on there.
He's the only villain.
What happened?
Is he still bald?
From playing Lex Luthor, he is. Yeah.
That might be interesting.
You think I fucking have a webcam trained on it?
What's the problem?
Oh, let me check. Oh, yep. No,
still bald, still bald.
he's got about an inch.
Wait, he played Lex Luthor?
That's why he's bald.
I thought he lost his hair.
No,
he went bald because in the
He didn't go bald. He shaved
he
his
shaved
head.
his head.
no
thought
he
he lost it.
he irradiated himself like Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
He really got into the character, and for the
What?
crossover event on the DC TV show universe.
Oh, it's a TV show.
Yeah, yeah. I hate you.
I'm keeping my hair for a TV show.
You would shave your head in a second.
Instantly, if Tyler Perry
Not
was
my
like, "I'm
hair.
putting you in on,"
Tyler Perry?
yeah, when
You
the bow
think-
breaks too.
You think I'm gonna cut my hair for $250? I'm good. Give me the role, but give me a ball cap
Give me
if
a
you can
ball
afford
cap.
it.
Listen, Tyler shaved his head for an audition
you.
that he didn't even come
I
close
hate
to
you.
getting.
Damn.
I
I'm not
couldn't do
shaving
the
my,
accent.
My hair is like one of the.
He was
my few-
auditioning for a punk. And so he's like, I'm gonna be the shining star of this audition. I'm gonna shave
For
my
punk?
fucking head.
for
a-
I was gonna
like
play
a
a Scottish
skinhead.
punk.
Oh, for a punk.
And
Okay.
so he goes into this audition. He's like, I'm gonna stand out. I shaved my head. I'm walking in with a leather jacket, and they're like, okay, cool. So your character's Scottish, and he was like, I can't do the accent. He didn't even try to do the accent. He even told them he couldn't.
I didn't
even
even
fake it?
fucking try.
Oh my God.
Absolutely, I knew I couldn't do a Scottish accent at the time. Like,
And the crazy thing is, he can do a Scottish accent. He can.
Wow, you just bailed.
yeah.
Wow.
He does a perfectly good Scottish accent. He shaved his head for an audition, walked in there. They said, all right, your character's Scottish. He went, oh, never mind, and left.
Nah, you out, bro.
Sorry to bother you.
Nah, you bugging. See, I wouldn't do
And
that.
he can do a Scottish accent.
I wouldn't do that. You see, first of all, my hair is everything to me. So
Right,
I'm
right.
not cutting my hair.
Listen, trust me, I haven't cut it since.
You know what I mean? I got to get the bag for that. For you to cut
That
my
is a
hair.
level of
So-
hot mess that hasn't even been like charted on a scale yet.
I believed I was going to be the greatest star alive.
Listen to
that?
I mean, you
thought
could-
I could
Don't-
actually
don't-
do it.
Honestly, don't do it now
Oh, thanks.
because
Cool,
when you was in that room, you ain't do it.
It's not my.
And the opportunity has surpassed you. So.
I was so like scarred from doing that to myself that I was like, I got to learn how to do accents well, and that was the catalyst.
That's why he's growing his hair so long. It's like I need to get my hair as far away from bald as possible.
It's,
that's
the scars are
So
too real.
he's like his hair is running away from that moment psychologically.
My friend is casting a dark-skinned black punk currently. I can send him because I see that you get method.
Yeah, I get real.
I mean, now
I'll go full Robert Downing on
at
it.
that time.
here for it.
At that time, he couldn't do it, but now like he'll go all the way.
God damn
Do it.
R.L. Stine is creating a new series of books based on the Garbage Pail Kids.
but he didn't write. He has nothing to do with them.
The Garbage Pail Kids are fucking amazing.
The legendary
They are
author behind Goosebumps and Fear Street will next publish a middle grade series based on the top company's pop culture phenomenon, Garbage Pail Kids. EW can announce exclusively. The author released a 3-book deal with publisher Abrams Children's Books, beginning with Welcome to Smellville, which will hit shelves this fall. Garbage Pail Kids first launched in 1985 as collectible sticker cards and has since grown to include merchandise such as t-shirts, toys, mobile and board games, and more. In Stine's vision, the Garbage Pail Kids are gross and weird and strange, but they're not bad kids. They just don't know any better. Welcome to Smellville introduces Atom Bomb, Brainy Janie, Junk Food John, and Nervous Rex as they get into mischief, battling bullies and their arch enemies, the Perfects.
Was this good? Was this good?
I mean, I know Garbage Pail Kids from the stickers, and they're awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
think
a
I know what
movie.
that
There's a
is.
Garbage Pail Kids movie from the 80s.
Yeah, it's-
and it
Oh,
is
man.
fucking
Yeah,
insane.
it's a horror show.
Fucking
Yeah.
fever dream.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is, but it sounds kind of interesting.
it's a good combo. R.L. Stine. And
Is it also? Oh, I'm
He's
so
gonna- what is he
fucking
gonna-
stupid. Is it going to be live action? Are
What
they
is
going to
he
be
gonna-
live action books?
What is he gonna do on it?
It's a series of books. He's writing these
Oh,
books.
he's gonna write it.
Yeah.
Okay, got
It's
it.
a good combo.
I guarantee that he's doing this just to be able to option them into a show or a movie.
That's
Sure,
what I'm thinking.
go for it.
Nah, nobody reads anymore.
I
so.
mean,
How dare
it's going to
you.
be
I read
so
every day.
easy. Each character already has its lore, like its own like backstory. He can just
Yeah, it's
make
way-
a movie
I
from
mean,
every
it's gonna be
single
way
one of
easy
them.
for him.
Yeah.
All right.
Book.
this episode is called Lore.
Here's one for you, Kirk. You and you only. Santana and Earth, Wind, and Fire announced a joint summer tour.
Is it a Spike Lee joint?
Emphasis on the joint. In the audience of that
Oh
concert.
yeah. Well, they need it for the glaucoma.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Petty time.
Now who's making
Yeah,
old
God
jokes?
damn.
I can because I'm part of it.
Word.
After the first round of their intimate Las Vegas residency in May, Santana will join Earth, Wind, and Fire on a summer tour kicking off in Chula Vista, California on June 19th. They'll hit major cities, including the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado, on July 1st in New York's Jones Beach Theater on August 15th. They'll also make a stop at the original site for Woodstock, now Bethel Woods Center for the Arts, on August 23rd, where Santana performed more than 50 years ago. It is a great joy and honor to co-share music with the magnificent elements of Earth, Wind, and Fire, Carlos Santana said in a statement. We look forward to delight, joy, and ecstasy. I feel like
Lots of ecstasy.
I feel like a 20-year-old on stage playing with my band, and they deliver incredible energy on every song, he continued. When we hit the stage, we know we will touch your heart and make you dance, sing, cry, laugh, and leave your worries and fears behind. The show will feature the hits of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. With energy.
With energy.
Maria, Maria.
Why
Do you
Remind me
remember?
of a
There you go.
West Side Story.
I want the Earth, Wind.
Yeah.
Growing up in Spanish Hollow.
That's not really a Santana song.
I mean, it is.
I mean,
a
it's from
Santana
him,
song.
but here's
do you
hot
say
take. I'm not a huge Santana fan. I mean, it's not like I hate him. It's more Earth, Wind, and Fire that I'm here for.
Yeah.
So we're going to this, right?
I would go to this.
Cool.
Can we skip Santana?
I
we can get there
like-
late.
I like older 70s Santana
Yeah,
stuff.
the experimental stuff
and,
I just
and
can't
my
handle.
and my mom loves like 90s Santana.
Oh, interesting.
Where he became like
Yeah, pop.
every album is like I just work with all these different singers.
Yeah.
And we do like collab songs.
His best collab is the one with Michelle Branch.
No, his best collab is the one with Rob Thomas.
No,
Just like the
Absolutely.
ocean.
little
under
bit
the
of
moon,
this,
it's the
little
same as sweet
bit of
emotion that I
started
got you.
Now we're
got the
up
kind
to
of
bat.
loving that will be
Little
so
bit of
smooth.
this,
Yeah,
a
give
little
me
bit
your
of
heart,
that.
make it real, or else forget about it. That was a fucking brilliant mashup.
That was great.
That
Oh.
worked.
Kelby hated it.
Chills.
Did it work?
Todd, that was hurtful.
Is your mustache working, Todd?
Oh!
Then that's the answer to both questions,
Wow.
isn't it?
Hey, don't ever talk to my guy like that.
I love
Man,
his
I wanna talk to my
mustache, and
guy
he
like
knows
that.
it. Oh!
Mexican standoff of defending people.
Ooh.
I felt so empowered right now
Todd,
having it on my
get your Dustin knife.
The knife that Dustin Diamond used in that bar fight that you bought on eBay.
That's what every knife needs to be called now.
Don't cash me outside.
I just gave you
Oh,
a
no.
business, Dust.
How about that?
You don't need Saved by the Bell. You about to sell knives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that this is.
Yeah. Very excited, even though, if we're being honest, it's only the 3 original members of Earth, Wind & Fire and then session players. Because they've been around a while.
One day, Kirk will be able to say, "Do you remember? It was the 19th day of June."
And then I'll go, no, I don't remember. 'Cause-
We were way too high.
Yeah.
But also, not to give free promotion, but to give free promotion. I've seen like 2 shows at the Chula Vista Amphitheater that they do their shows at, and it's a great place to see a show.
Good to know.
Where is that?
Chula
Chula
Vista,
Vista, California.
Yeah, it's is that where you're from, Todd?
No, but it's in San Diego.
Why are you riding
Oh,
for
it's
2
Oh,
days?
it's yeah, it's no
Okay, got it.
outside of
good food there.
Tijuana.
Oh, sicko.
Ah!
Oh no. Oh no.
You broke Todd.
I fucking love it.
Macaulay Culkin
Oh gosh.
has joined season 10 of American Horror Story. It's been announced.
Good.
The stars of the new season include returning players Sarah Paulson and Evan Peters, as well as newcomers to the series, Macaulay Culkin.
Hey.
Mackie C.
Ooh.
Series co-creator Ryan Murphy took to his Instagram to reveal the stacked cast list. This will be the Home Alone stars' first season of the FX anthology show. In addition to Culkin, who recently popped up on Hulu's Dollface, the cast for season 10 includes returning players Paulson, Peters, Kathy Bates, Billy Lord, Leslie Grossman, Adina Porter, Lily Rabe, I don't know how to say that, Angelica Ross, and Finn Whitrock. So yeah, we're getting Macaulay in our American Horror
It
Story.
feels like it's a good fit. Like
Yeah.
I'm almost like, why didn't you do it sooner?
Yeah.
It just, I don't know why. It just seems like it's a good fit.
Well, for years, Macaulay Culkin was just like a recluse. Like he didn't do interviews. He didn't want to be in movies. He just kind of wanted to keep to himself and live in his mansion and just kind of be a rich guy. And recently, he's sort of like come out of that like reclusion because he launched a media company and a podcast, Bunny Ears.
Oh.
So he has a website called bunnyears.com. He has a podcast, and I think he's just basically decided like he wants to get out there to market his company. So he started doing a lot of interviews and being in things, and I think this is just kind of part of that.
Okay. Good for him then.
There's 2 dudes who are like that I kind of admire. And it's
Who?
him and Frankie Muniz. They just like made their
Frankie Muniz?
Yeah, they just kind of like made their money as children, and then just kind of like, you know. And then when they decided to come back out and they felt like it was good, then they do that. I like that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's a good way to live.
All right.
Frankie, get back on it.
Have you guys seen that video?
He's hosting of America's Dance something.
Cool.
Do you guys see that video where he was like dancing shirtless?
Who?
Which one?
Frankie Muniz.
Yes.
No?
With the guy.
It's
with
real
another
weird.
dude. Yeah, it's real weird.
But
I like you still, Frank.
I just like, is it weird that he's shirtless?
no, it's just like it's a
Is the
weird
dance-
video.
oh, okay,
It's like
gotcha.
it's
I
just
wanna
a very
see it now.
strange video.
Definitely got to
Yeah.
see it.
His whole thing is about dance because he's the host of America's Dance something.
So on that note, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to watch the new Candyman trailer.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
And we're back. And now we're going to watch the trailer that just dropped today. So even though kind of it doesn't really matter because we record on Thursdays and the episodes come out on Mondays, so we're still not kind of scooping it from the audience perspective. No. We're watching this fresh out the kitchen. Hot and fresh out the kitchen.
You can't refer to that.
Yeah, I know.
Who can take a sunrise No, that's not.
Can't hear it.
You can't hear it. It's going through the headphones. It's
Normally it'd be sorry. my
Yeah,
bad.
that's true. That's not
Normally
on
I-
you, Cup. You're
I was
good.
like,
You're
he
good.
started singing, and I was like, let me take my headphones off.
Candyman. The urban legend is if you say his name 5 times while looking in the mirror,
Guy from Watchmen.
Oh yeah.
it kills you.
And Waterman. And,
Waterman?
Dang it. The Aquaman.
Oh, I was like, Waterman?
They said it like 25 times.
Well, we're still alive. Let's go.
They're gonna get Candyman.
They're gonna get candy and.
Kelly, it's crazy that you're watching this and you're eating candy at
Yeah.
the same time.
It's sick.
It's weird.
Where my man Tony Todd at? Show me the Tony.
Is this a musical?
It's gonna win a Tony. I mean, who can take?
Wait,
They have a song already. It's already there.
Hey, from Fear the Walking Dead. I forgot his name. He's great.
Oh, is that guy gonna become Spider-Man?
He better.
This is Candyman.
Oh,
Is this-
damn it.
Does this take place in Chicago?
Detroit.
Oh, okay.
Or no, yeah, it does.
Because Cabrini Green, yeah,
Chicago,
Chicago.
yes, you're right.
So you're telling me he didn't get bit by a radioactive cabbage patch? Ah, Sour Patch.
I was like, what are you talking about? Are you fucking?
Don't say that.
Oh, that was a good moment.
Yeah.
I want to see my man Tony.
Ooh, this is the Invisible Man.
I think I made a mistake.
They're gonna show us Candyman.
I brought it back.
What?
Oh yeah, that.
Oh, wow, they put in Beyonce?
You
I'm
guys
not mad
have
at that.
you
I'm
guys
not mad
haven't
at
heard
that.
it, but this
interesting.
song has been playing through the whole trailer.
Oh my god.
It's interesting.
It's like a slowed down version of it.
They should have just used the Drake version, but okay.
How
The
dare
Drake
you.
version?
Yeah.
Of
play
Say
for
My
you.
Name?
Yeah, I'll play for you.
Please don't.
Why you never say my name?
Nah, it's way slower.
Why you say my name at cheesecake? Todd's over there breaking it down.
Oh man,
Ooh.
I fucking love Candyman.
One thing, it feels like Jordan Peele's using the same sounds that he did in Us.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is
they're
it a new
horror movies.
trend to like take a famous pop song from the past and then slow it down and make it creepy?
I think it is definitely.
I don't
Wait,
mean I don't
if it
mean
is,
that.
Did
I just,
he invent it?
yeah, I mean he might have, but I mean the picking, the bings, and all that stuff like that echo into the darkness.
I ain't even mad. That looked fucking great to me.
It did look really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked good. It looked good. I mean, again, it's a horror, so it's not my thing, but it looked good. I like the take on it.
I wish they had showed Tony Todd, but I guess they're holding that out for the reveal in the movie.
I'm scared to ask this question. Why is he called Candyman? Is this going to take a long explanation if I ask this?
Well, I don't know.
He is. I forget actually. Like I haven't seen the movie. Like the last I watched. I mean, I watched the Candyman movies when I was a kid, obviously, and the last time I watched Candyman was probably it was like in 2008 or 9. We rented it from Blockbuster, and I watched it with some friends. And that was the last time I watched
The
it.
Candyman is just a
It's just a name. right?
knockoff of Bloody Mary, right?
I don't ever remember hearing some sort of like kids sing-songy folk tale thing about a Candyman.
Yeah, that's
Candyman. The legend claims that Candyman can be summoned by saying his name. Blah blah blah.
It just
He's
seems
a fictional character, the main antagonist of the Candyman series of films, originating from Clive Barker's 1985 short story *The Forbidden*. In the vengeful ghost of an African-American man who was brutally beaten, mutilated, and fed to the bees by having honey smeared on his body for a forbidden interracial love affair.
Oh.
So yeah, Candyman, because
I
he
guess-
has honey on him.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
it's a little stretch, but I certainly don't want honey as candy.
what?
Well, it was like he was the Candyman because he was like covered in.
Yeah, they turned him into candy for bees.
I'm stupid.
But also this I feel doesn't the lore behind it seems like this new movie isn't sticking to it. It doesn't.
See what you did there?
What do you mean?
Sticking.
What do you mean it's sticking to it?
Yeah, it seems like it is. What did you watch?
He
in your
was
head?
beaten. He
What
was
was
beaten,
the movie you saw in your
He
head?
was beaten and honey-tarred for an interracial relationship.
That's the
Yes.
backstory. That's not necessarily in this movie.
So he just could. He could. Oh, that's what I'm saying. That's okay. I don't know.
But then you look in the mirror and you say Candyman 3 times, and he comes out and murders you.
Okay.
Are you sure you watched what we watched?
No, I don't think so
I
anymore.
don't think so either. Kelby, your thoughts?
I think it looks visually cool. Yeah, I don't know.
Is
it
it-
didn't really do much for me.
What's better, that trailer or the Jolly Rancher that you have?
I thought you were gonna say the one with Chris Rock, Spiral.
Oh,
no, that
Spiral
looks
looks
good.
fucking amazing.
No.
That looks way better.
What's,
Let me
what's
not
more
say
enjoyable,
better, but
the Jolly Rancher you have or that trailer?
the Jolly Rancher fire.
Wow.
It's one of the. It's the fire hot Jolly Rancher.
No,
You're
no,
gonna, you're
it's
gonna
a
do Tony
sour.
Todd
It's
like
sour.
that? That's messed up.
Zila.
All right. And on that note, let's do a regular segment where we talk about rumors and unsubstantiated reboot news and give our opinions on whether we think it should happen or not. The segment is.
I am
go
here
for that. Oh, can you? Oh,
Can you go for that?
oh, can you? Oh,
Can you go for that?
No, oh, can you? Oh,
Can you go for that?
Can you go for that?
Can you go for that? Yeah. Todd was feeling
It's a
that.
crime that Todd is
Not on.
not
camera.
wanting to be on
No,
camera.
I mean, it really,
Yeah.
that just
that
elevates.
just made it.
That's
Wow.
some real Frankie Muniz stuff right there.
No, that
I mean,
was
that's a bar right there. That's
he
a bar.
fucking bodied Frankie Muniz.
I should
Um,
tweet Frankie Muniz. I'm gonna tweet him right now.
damn.
Are you going to tweet him?
Todd
"Hey,
just
our
bodied
podca-"
you.
Yeah, Todd, our podcast producer,
Yeah.
just bodied you.
I wouldn't say that
Yeah.
to the great Frank.
But you can at Todd on there and say he is currently challenging you to a dance off.
What's your tweets?
What's your tweeter?
What's your
What's your
tweet
tweeter?
Where do you
What's
want
your
Twitter?
tweet deed?
Todd with 3Ds __ foolery.
Yeah, 3D Todd. You know that's his nickname in high school.
Fuller, like Fuller House? Got it. Wait. Oh,
No,
foolery.
foolery. FOOLERY.
Because he had 3
Oh,
penises.
got it. I found it.
He got 2 of them removed.
Oh yeah, of course. And this is gonna be a very short. Can you go for that? We got one.
One.
We got
One.
one story.
One
story, but it's a big one.
Okay.
John Krasinski recently said he would love to come back for an Office reunion.
Jack Ryan?
Yes.
Ew. Stop.
The jury is still out on whether or not the Office reunion will ever happen. If it does, though, John Krasinski wants in. Despite the show going off the air nearly 7 years ago, the sitcom has remained wildly popular and highly in demand on streaming services. With that, it would make sense for the show to return in some way. Krasinski, who played Jim on the show, would love to return given the opportunity. He said, "The Office was absolutely everything to me. I mean, it is my beginning and my end. I'm pretty sure at the end of my career, I'll still be known for Jim. That was my first experience with Hollywood. It was the first creative family I've ever had. In many ways, they will always be the most important people in the most important experience of my career. So yeah, if they did a reunion, I would absolutely love to do it."
I can go for that. Yeah, I would love to see a reunion later on. That would be great. I also applaud John Krasinski for going, yeah, I'm fucking grateful for The Office.
Absolutely.
There's so many actors who are on hit shows who will remain nameless who are like, no, it's not what I want to be known for anymore. And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, that's my thing.
my
I'm
entire
grateful for it. And I love that.
Yeah.
So, and I can almost
Angus
see.
T. Young
Oh, is he not
of
happy?
2.5 Men.
Oh, he's a good guy.
What about him?
He was
I'm
like
just trolling.
he like came out like
As a Mormon?
Seventh-day Adventist.
well
Was he?
but-
Yeah.
I mean, but that's fine, whatever.
No,
But-
I think he
but
came out
the,
as saying.
the issue was
Oh,
he
yeah.
like went on to some like religious
Mhm.
like what YouTube show and was just like, I hate the show I'm on. It's like sinful and like everything we do is like sending bad messages into the world
Yeah.
and like I just want to be off the show or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the producers were just like, the fuck you say?
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
What a goof.
Yeah.
And a doof?
He's not quite a doof.
Okay.
You
Because
you
people-
didn't see the beard that he drew. That he
Nah,
grew.
because the thing is, people get sucked into things like that, and then they say dumb stuff, and then eventually he's not even a part of religion
Yeah.
anymore. So he's just a goof.
But I like that John Krasinski appreciates the show. I could see this easily happening, maybe without Steve Carell. Maybe Steve Carell's like, nah, maybe not. But I could see this happening. I could see it, and I can go for that.
Nice.
Damn, you just brought up a good point, Steve Carell.
He's gonna be a daddy on that show if he returns.
Granddad.
I'm still wondering about the Steve Carell daddy zaddy thing. I'm a little confused by that, but we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
I can go for that. The Office is so popular, it almost feels like it never ended because of how much people still watch it. And those characters, they just feel so comfortable. Like it doesn't feel like anyone is pushing beyond anything to like have to come back to this. It just feels like a family, and I'm here for that.
I can go for that with one caveat.
Can I hit us with caveats?
It has to be them all coming back as key witnesses in Toby's murder trial.
Oh, the Scranton Strangler.
The Scranton Strangler.
murder
Yeah.
trial.
So they finally catch him, and then it's all just in the courtroom, and then talking heads outside of it, just talking about how like some of them had to have known, and then
That's
all-
kind of not bad, though.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Fa, 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 fa.
love it.
That's not a bad idea though.
Yeah.
But I would want to see Toby on the show though. So I don't know. It had to be somebody else.
I want
You
everyone.
would want
I-
to see
I
Toby
want-
on the
I
show?
want
Yeah, he
everyone.
would be on the show.
Yeah.
No, he's not the one who's murdered. He is a murderer. There's a whole
That's the
storyline.
whole thing. There's like a
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah,
fan
yeah.
theory that he's secretly the Scranton Strangler.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, I can go for that. I feel like it's got to have Steve Carell on it though.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
that.
They got to have Steve Carell come back, and also they got to go back and they got to fix Andy. They got to fix
What are you talking about?
how they did him dirty at the end of that show.
Yeah.
What happened to him at
Do you
the
not
end?
remember
I don't
him giving
remember.
the commencement speech and becoming like the guy? He got his dream job working at Cornell, and he gave an amazing commencement speech that overcame his embarrassment of crying on national television.
Yeah, but they ruined his character in the last season of the show because they made him take over as the new boss.
His fault.
Yep.
Doing
And
hangovers.
they had this whole character arc that like culminated in an episode where they took him, and there's actually like you can see like video essays on this on YouTube if you look it up, of like how they took this character and turned him into a good character to make him become the new Michael Scott. Because before that he was just kind of like this annoying
He
side
was
character.
insane.
Yeah,
and
loose
and
cannon.
he had like anger issues
Yeah.
and stuff. And so they brought him back, and then they had this like 2 or 3 episode arc that culminated in the episode where he wins over the trust of the team. And in this 3 episode arc, they masterfully earned him that role, and he became a good replacement for Michael Scott. And then he worked as the new Michael Scott. He wasn't obviously not as good, but he worked. And then because he had to go and leave and do Hangover 2, they basically wrote him out of the show in like the shittiest way possible, where he just like abandons them and he gets shipwrecked, and then he's just kind of an asshole to Erin, and then she ends up dumping him. They just kind of like did his character dirty at the end because he had to go and shoot the Hangover movies.
Yeah. Agree.
So yeah, I can go for that.
Cool.
All right.
And that has concluded today's ultra short rendition of
Oh man, that timing.
Can you go for that? No. Oh, can you? Oh, can you go for that? Oh, can you? Oh, can you go for that? Oh, can you? Oh, can you go for that? Can you go for that? Can you go for that?
Nailed it.
Couple more stories before we end the show. I just put this on here because I thought it was funny. The heiress to the Hot Pocket fortune, Michelle Janavs, was sentenced to 5 months in prison. The heir to the Hot Pockets fortune was sentenced on Tuesday to 5 months in prison and ordered to pay $250,000 fine for her role in the college admissions scandal. If you don't remember, there was this college admissions scandal that was a big thing earlier in 2019, where Aunt Becky from Full House and
Felicity Huffman
from
Desperate
Housewives were sentenced to were charged in this criminal case where they basically had bribed college admissions to let their kids in to these what school was it?
USC.
USC. And they got caught and they went to jail.
Wait, no. How
Well,
long?
Felicity Huffman went to jail.
because she pleaded guilty. She was like, "Okay, I did it."
I
And she
did it,
did like
yeah.
3 weeks in like minimum.
I thought she did like even less than that, like 3 days.
No, it was like 11 or 12 days. And then Aunt Becky is like, "I didn't do shit. Let's go to court."
Yeah.
And they just said now, like, if she's charged or if she is found guilty, the max is like 50 years.
50 years?
I would have walked right on in there. Yo, I care about my kids. You know what I mean? Education,
Mindset.
backbone of America.
That's
Put
50
me in jail.
years?
Yeah.
Stupid Beck.
Yeah.
But I love that there's a Hot Pockets heiress.
Yeah.
That's
And then Dr. Dre came out and he's like, my daughter got into school
Yeah.
without anything. And then they were like, wait a minute, didn't you like donate millions of dollars to their school that indirectly got them to agree to let her go?
Like, delete.
I
Whoever put that on my Instagram, take it down.
Crazy.
I don't know anything about this heiress, but I just hope once in her life she's just like, "Do you know who the fuck I am?
Yeah.
I'm the Hot Pockets heiress."
Absolutely.
Yo,
Now give me those ramen noodles.
Yeah.
I'm here for that.
What
She
you
probably
gonna
never even-
pick? College fraud?
She probably never even had a single hot pocket and noticed how they burn your tongue.
Next time anybody gets into college, I'm like, oh, you got that hot pocket money?
So she, Janavs, or however you pronounce that. Why the fucking Michelle Pockets pleaded guilty in October to paying $300,000 in bribes to help her daughters cheat on college entrance exams and attempt to secure admission to one of them to the University of Southern California as a fake recruit for the school's beach volleyball team. She is one of more than 50 people who have been charged in the nationwide federal investigation, which saw wealthy and in some cases famous parents pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to fixers and co-conspirators to get their children into prestigious colleges.
Which is more than the tuition.
Do you think?
Right.
So dumb.
I have a couple of questions about this. Do you think
Fucking
that the
dumb.
people who accepted the money are getting time?
I don't know. I think the people who
I
were
think
involved
so.
with that on the other
Yeah.
end also got in trouble.
Yeah.
They got fired and I think they got in trouble too.
Also, doesn't it make USC seem like an incredible school? Because you paying all this money to go.
That
to
was my
USC?
biggest thing when you said USC. I was like, USC?
I mean, USC is a very prestigious school
Sure, but-
already, but doesn't it make it even more prestigious because these famous people have kids? Well, in a certain sense, but like they have these kids that they honestly don't have to go to college. I mean, Aunt Becky's kids, she could just, I don't know, talk to an agent and say, "Hey, put my kid in whatever," and that could work. So to send them off to school, doesn't that make that in their mind it means USC is some kind of the new Harvard or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a legit good private school and on the West Coast, but they could have just, with all that money, they could have just been donated. Hey, here's a donation.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you?
I
they
really-
could have done what Dr. Dre did.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre not in jail.
Not in jail. That's what I'm
Kid
talking
went
about.
to school. You did it the
Yeah.
right way.
God.
You can't go to jail for giving a school millions of dollars to build an amphitheater and then just winking at them really hard, really loud, really like hard.
See this?
Yeah.
I'll be back when my other kids 18.
But also, those kids, how stupid do they feel? I'm so dumb that my parents are going to jail because I couldn't get into college by myself.
Yeah.
they could have at least went to a little JV or something.
Something.
JC.
fucking
You know, I don't know. What those
dumb.
terms
They could have gotten to Occidental,
are. Hey, Obama went there.
the Burbank Adult School that
That's the high
I
school.
just see signs for
Yeah.
driving around. So in a tragic turn of events,
Oh gosh.
I guess he ran out of free lives.
No.
Kazuhisa Hashimoto, veteran video game developer and creator of the famous Konami Code, died this week at the age of 61.
Mm-hmm.
We are saddened to
young.
hear about the passing of
Yeah, very.
Kazuhisa Hashimoto, a deeply talented producer who first introduced the world to the Konami Code. Konami said in a statement, "Our thoughts are with Hashimoto-san's family and friends at this time." The news of Hashimoto's death was first shared on Twitter by composer Yuji Takanuchi. Hashimoto created the code up, up, down, down, left, right, BA as an employee of Konami in the 1980s, and when he was creating the Nintendo Entertainment System version of the arcade game Gradius. I hadn't played that much and obviously couldn't beat it myself, so I put in the Konami Code. Hashimoto said in a 2003 interview, "Because I was the one who was going to be using it, I made sure that it was easy to remember." Konami would go on to use the code or slight variations of it in many of its games. It also became an iconic pop culture reference that has shown up practically everywhere, from more recent games like Rocket League to the website for the Bank of Canada. So, if you are not familiar, this code is within people who like video games or video game culture. This is like just a thing that everybody knows.
It's burned in their brain.
Yeah, it's like similar to that all your base are belong to us, where it's kind of a meme. And it's used in a lot of different video games as like a reference of like, if you enter this, it unlocks like a secret character or something like that. And it all started from this, that he created it as basically just a way for him to like get to certain parts of a game that he was working on because he just couldn't beat it himself. And it just became this this staple in video game culture. And he has passed away.
What was his net worth?
Come on. Oh my God. That's the most Kelbiest question I've ever heard.
It doesn't matter now.
There's a couple of other people that passed away. The first one is Larry Tesler. Do you guys know who he is?
Larry Tesler?
Yeah, he's the guy who created cut, copy, and paste.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
I read about that, and I just didn't think to save it.
Wow.
The functions on the computer?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he
created that.
invented that.
Oh, wow.
That thing, that method.
So he
That's
created that legend, taught us all how to cheat. And Katherine Johnson, the mathematician or the computer.
Oh, that did
Hidden Figures?
The Hidden
Figures,
Figures.
yeah.
Highlighted her career. She passed away.
Yeah.
When I think about that, all of the fucking math she had to do by hand and how it's a stack that 2 piles of paper that is taller than her.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. She's the ultimate badass. I don't care how many wars anybody else has won. That woman did the impossible.
Yeah. Math is impossible.
Yeah.
I hate math.
It's the
So
unbeatable
hard.
game.
It's so fucking hard.
Rest in peace to all of those people.
My wife is so good at math.
How
It
good
blows my
is she?
mind.
How good is she?
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
I just can't. She's so good at math.
Well, she better be helping them kids with their homework.
She does.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why my son is so smart. And on a slightly more uplifting note to end on, so this is a recent story that somebody talked about. This actually happened a while back, but this person has just more recently posted it on Reddit or something like that. Oh, it was published in a newspaper, in Asahi Shimbun, one of Japan's largest newspaper. 70-year-old Kuniko Susaka recounted how her mother always had a Game Boy nearby to play Tetris. But when her mother turned 95 and her health started to suffer, her Game Boy stopped working. This was her mother's third Game Boy, and Susaka, who lived in Chiba, wasn't able to find a store selling the handheld, nor could she find any shop able to fix it. Susaka's son mentioned Nintendo's excellent customer service. What followed proved just that. The story was recounted on Twitter, where it has racked up over 197,000 likes and has been republished on popular sites like Nico Nico News. As Sora News points out, it first appeared in the February 21st print edition of Asahi Shimbun. So this was a newspaper article that just came out on the 21st of this month. When the grandson mentioned Nintendo's excellent customer service, he said Kamitolo, which literally means God support, or better yet, divine interaction, with Kami meaning God or spirit. It's used to describe incredible service or corporate responses. However, Susaka thought her son said the word Kami, which means paper. So she wrote Nintendo a letter along with the busted Game Boy. Within a week, she got more than a paper response. Nintendo didn't have the spare parts to fix the Game Boy, so instead sent along a new Game Boy discovered in its warehouse, along with a letter wishing the grandmother a long life. Susaka's mother lived until she was 99 years old, in control of her mental faculties right up until the end, and counting her blessings along the way. Up in the sky, she's thankful, I think, Susaka's added, no doubt playing Tetris too. So this woman, she had just held on to this hobby of playing Tetris on her Game Boy. You know, Game Boy went out of production back in like the late 90s, and she was able to get, as her Game Boys were breaking, she was able to get another one, and then finally she just couldn't find another one, and she sent it into Nintendo, and they sent her a new one that they found in their warehouse.
That's a wonderful story.
And she played it and lived to be 99.
We all should be so lucky.
What country are they in?
Japan.
Oh, okay. That's incredible. When you said that her health started deteriorating at 95, was like, well, damn.
Yeah, that's we should all be so lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So, if you liked that and you haven't done it yet, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use. If you have a friend that you think would like the show, feel free to share with them. You could also rate and review the show on your chosen podcast platform. It really helps us out. You can also follow us on social media. You can go to the official Nostalgia Facebook page. If you just search Nostalgia on Facebook, you'll find our page. We post cool nostalgic content as well as updates about the podcast every day on the Nostalgia Facebook page. You can also join our Facebook group, the Nostalgia Facebook group. So you can follow us on those social medias. You can also follow us on Instagram at Nostalgia. You can if you have any comments or anything you want to say to us, you can tweet at us at the Nostalgicast on Twitter.
Let us know about that Dustin knife.
We already settled that. And you can also email us at nostalgicastpod@gmail.com. If you want to support us in a more monetary way, you can become a supporter. Go to our Facebook page, the Nostalgia Facebook page, and at the top there's a button that says Become a Supporter. You click that for $4.99 a month. In addition to supporting the show, you also get access to exclusive bonus content like bonus episodes and videos. Thanks for listening.
So on.